Welcome to the Hot Rod Podcast with Ron Foreman and Brady Wright. We're the guys who eat, breathe, and live cars. Ron is the president and founder of the Rat Bastards Car Club and a longtime builder of awesome hot rods. Brady is the founder of the Idaho State Hot Rod Hall of Fame, a producer of car shows all across the Northwest, and the builder of the only rat rod ice cream truck in the state.
Hey, happy Halloween and welcome to the show. It's going to be a BOMONSTER show.
It is.
And this is show number 475. Be sure to hit the like and share button because it really does our podcast good to have you join us. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. It's going to be fun. I can hardly wait. This guy is an artist, and we've had some artists on the show, but not like this guy. Pretty interesting stuff. Let's bring him in.
Let's do it.
And as promised, BOMONSTER is in the house. How you doing, sir?
Hey, I'm doing really good. Good to be with you guys.
Yeah.
Happy Halloween.
You and Ron have known each other for a while.
I was going to ask, have we met? And I'm thinking it might be the Boise Roadster show. I don't know.
That was the Good Guy show, and then it's been lots of different swap meets and different car shows that we've seen each other through the years.
Well, Rat Ron, you and I get around, don't we?
Yes, we do.
I used to get around. Now I'm in Idaho. So I get around over here.
Yeah.
Well, so we've had, Ron and I were talking about this off air just a little bit. We've had some artists, automotive artists on the show before, but I think this is the first time we've ever had somebody on who does what you do. And, I read a lot of the stuff that you sent, and Ron, of course, told me quite a bit about you. But I kind of want to know, you've called it scratching. And I see we're going to run a whole bunch of your art as we're talking. It's going to be running underneath us. But it's really, do I dare say it's kind of akin to woodcuts?
Well, that is the look. The scratch board itself, and I'd like to think I'm the only one doing it that I know of, but it's a black ink board, and I scratch with a knife. There's a white layer under the top black layer, scratching the black off, see the white line. So it's literally scratching a board. The board looks like kind of the thickness of masonite. So it's like a woodcut in a sense, but I don't ink it. I don't stamp it. I scan it to get my art files, but that's the look.
So if I can kind of follow this, I've looked at all the art, and I go back a ways. I was always a fan of some of the early mathematic and geometric artists like M.C. Escher.
Right.
And if people know who that is, great. If you don't, look it up. We're not going to mess with it right now. But the bottom line is, what you're kind of doing is creating a photo negative in a way. I mean, you're taking out anything that doesn't belong in the picture, and what's left is the artwork. Is that fair to say?
I know it sounds a little bit more complicated than it is. And for me, to keep it simple in my mind, I'll transfer just the outline shape of the composition, and then the details I scratch where the light hits, and I leave the shadows alone. So it's all about light and how light shapes an object, and that's kind of how I approach it.
That's really cool.
It's fascinating. Now we're going to run some of this art. Like I say, it's below us. I don't know which one is going to be where, but I'm going to talk about it a little bit. Your prime focus, at least the pieces that you sent me, is automotive. You're a fan apparently of the Ratfink stuff and Roth's work, but there's a lot of other just hot rod in general kind of stuff. And I have to say, the detail that you managed to get on these things is phenomenal. I mean, I hope that whoever's watching from wherever you're watching, I hope you can zoom out your screen or zoom in to the picture so you can see the detail. This is amazing stuff. And you did all of this basically with a small art knife. Am I correct?
Yeah, it's one blade. It's a number 16 X-Acto blade. And they make kits. They make different tools, different shapes and whatnot to get textures. But I use one blade for everything, thick and thin.
That's cool.
And the art itself, what inspires me, the era of artists that I like are Ed Roth, of course, and Robert Crumb and Jim Phillips and Robert Griffin. All that kind of album art, underground comics have that look to it, and they were all pen and ink, basically.
Very cool.
But I do like that era, and I apply it to hot rods and drag racing and dirt bikes and rockabilly and surf and VWs, all the kind of things I grew up with, me and my friends grew up with and enjoying. So yeah, that's where my art inspiration comes from.
So
Yeah,
when I was at the Good Guy show, I purchased the Tiki Rod shirt for myself and a friend of mine, and I'm really into the Hawaiian and the Polynesian art with your hot rod style. It's really really cool. I really love it.
I
Yeah,
was
well, thank you for being a good customer supporting an emerging
Absolutely.
artist, Ron. I appreciate that.
Well, it's not the only one that bought it. But through the years, I got the BOMONSTER with the hard hat, the helmet,
Yeah,
the crash helmet, the hillbilly crash helmet. I got it.
yeah. Cool,
I
man.
got to
Well,
look at
thanks.
some of those things. I right now I'm looking at the future courthouse with the DeLorean and everything on the steps of the courthouse, and I mean the detail in that thing is amazing. Can I ask how long approximately do some of these things take? Because I mean, there's a lot of detail. I would think this takes quite a bit of time.
Well, maybe not as much as you think. There's something about the medium that your eye kind of fills in the rest. Because when I do a negative, to make a T-shirt, you have to do a reverse print of the
Right.
art, and when it's in a reverse print state, it's surprising how simplified it really does look. But there is detail there, absolutely. And I start. I don't use any straight edges. Everything's freehand. The original drawing is drafted, and everything's nice and straight and all squared up, and it's going to land on the page the way I want it. But once I get to scratching, everything is freehand from there.
It's amazing. I mean, I'm looking right now at the one, the Grand Canyon,
Yeah,
and I mean, for heaven's sake, there is a lot of detail in that one. I mean, a ton. Plus, you've got about 25 cars or hot rods on the lip of the canyon.
yeah.
And I mean, I can't get this thing big enough to see all the detail. It's just phenomenal. I'm literally blown away by this. Did you go to school for this stuff? I mean,
No, I want to answer your question though about how long it takes me before I
yes,
forget.
yes.
Uh, uh, the actual scratching, it's like the Grand Canyon would have been like, days and night. I scratch at night basically. So 3 or 4 nights, I suppose. A lot of the pieces you're looking at might be two. I give it an overnight test and kind of work on it the next day. But really, when I work on a piece, most of the time is in the design and the planning and the research and creating a design in a rough drafted form. I mean, I really I'll dedicate maybe a week, and some of the bigger projects like Grand Canyon, it's like 2 weeks with a few nights of scratching in the middle of planning, designing, transferring, scanning, turning it into our file with the scratching in the middle. So it's somewhat time consuming, but maybe not as much as you might think.
And I suppose I mean, you do get better as you go. I mean, you have a little, the creative process might be a little shorter because you know what you're doing and what you can do and what you want to do, I guess. Ron, you've got some of his artwork. What's your favorite piece of his that you have?
Well, I like the Tiki Rod. That's really cool. I really dig
Yeah.
that one. It's pretty cool. And the original is Monster with the hillbilly crash helmet with the monster
Yeah,
on
yeah,
wearing it. That's really cool. I really dig that.
yeah.
I noticed that I saw a little bit of a couple of articles that your father was hanging out with Ed Roth. Is that right? Or just around the corner down the block?
Yeah. My dad had his own commercial art studio. He was on Atlantic Boulevard. Roth was on Slauson Avenue. They were both
Awesome. You bet.
right there in Maywood.
Right
And
on.
my dad did like Dempsey Wilson racing cams. He wrote all the copy for the catalogs and took all the
Oh,
product
wow.
pictures and designed that logo years ago. He did a lot of speed equipment type work. For Ed, he did the placement of the ads in the magazines. He got the media commission, and
Oh, wow.
like
Cool.
Ed Newton and Robert Williams, they did all the drawing of the ads, but they just hand over the finished ad, and my dad would get statted, photo stats to size of a quarter page, eighth page, 16th page, etc. Get him in the magazine and collect the commission. So he knew him on that level, and and we would often drop by. I was a little kid, at that time, of course, but we'd stop by his little one-car garage and his one-person office and right next to it. And he was a great guy to me, great guy to kids. And what I remember, I was working on that bike truck. It was called the Missing Link at the time, but it was the nail head motor off to the side of the cockpit of a motor, little place for a bike on the back. And so I remember him covered in plaster and his coveralls and, and trying to talk to me and me being just real shy, like, yes, sir, no, sir. I didn't know what to say to him, but we have memories of those days yet.
So the ads you're talking about are those like the ads you see like in the comic books where it shows all the T-shirts and the ads and those, and you see a little picture of Ed Roth at Rat making all the T-shirts that he made?
Exactly.
Are those the ads you're talking about?
Yeah, they're like pen and ink blank T-shirts and some fun little conceptual piece up on top, that they would draw, and then they just paste in the little graphic of each one of the shirts. And I remember going to the office next door to his garage, and the girls in the office were opening up the letters from the kids answering the ads in the magazines, and you'd send I think a T-shirt was like $1.50 or $2 or something. And it'd be quarters.
Those days, they were big money then, but
well, they'd tape quarters to the letters, and then the girls would be opening them up, and they'd stack all the quarters on the tables, and I'd walk in there following my dad and Ed. Stacks of quarters. I'd never seen so much cash money in my life. It just absolutely blew me away. So those absolutely.
So there must be something to this art stuff, huh? Maybe you get involved with that, huh?
Well, there you go. Yeah, I make quarters now. That's true. Lots of quarters.
It's funny you mentioned Robert Crumb as one of the influences, and I have the oldest T-shirt that I own. I can't get into it anymore, but I'm pretty sure it's Shrank. I'm sure that's the case. Is actually a piece of art from one of his comic books. It's a Wonder Warthog T-shirt.
Yeah.
Oh, right on.
Oh, yeah.
But I think that probably cost me $2, at the time. I mean, that's what you did. I still have some of those underground comics, and I wouldn't be surprised at all if there was an ad in there, for some
I still have some too.
Yeah, that's just grand.
Well, speaking of Robert Crumb, that Keep on Truckin' design, those characters are based on Basil Wolverton in the 50s. That was his look. And in those early 60s, Roth and Dean Jeffries and others, Mouse came along, Stanley Mouse. They were doing hot rods and adding Basil Wolverton faces of the monsters driving the cars. So they're borrowing from the generation before them. I'm borrowing from generations before me. So that's how that works.
Going on my arm.
On his arm.
What's that, Ron? What's that?
I got a monster on my arm.
There you go.
I think you see it.
I just popped it. If you get too close, it'll warp out. There you go. Right there.
There you go.
Yeah.
The likeness is awesome. Uncanny likeness there.
Whose art is that? That's cool.
Yeah. So
a local tattoo artist, Scott. I can't remember his name right now. Anyway.
Well, he did a good job.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, caricatures like Ron Scott and just not only tattoo art, which I think it feels to me, tattooing feels kind of like there's a similarity between that type of art and what you do, because it's scratching in a different way.
True.
It's not removing stuff, it's adding it, but it's a painstaking, detail-oriented kind of thing. I mean, you can't just do it, without some thought and planning. That's why they do a transfer, so they got something to look at. But
that's true, and it's how I approach my designs. Like a tattoo, I'll transfer just the outline shape to the board, and I start scratching where it's light and leave the shadows alone, like I say, which is the opposite of a tattoo artist. But both are permanent. We neither one of us can make mistakes, so there's our similarities.
It's there forever.
I want to talk some about your art and the process you do, the creative process. Let me take a break here. We got sponsors to pay and bills to pay, so let's just come right back after this.
There's a great new family-oriented nonprofit car club in Idaho.
We're the Rat Bastards, and we want you.
Welcome all hot rods, 1969 or earlier. and orphans.
And the rough is enough.
Rat Bastards.
Real steel and iron hot rods.
We are the Rat Bastards, and we want you.
We're all about old school hot rods and rat rods.
We get together, help each other build, and cruise like crazy.
Because that's the way car clubs are supposed to be.
Join us for cruisings all over Idaho and Washington.
Joining the club is easy.
A bunch of rat bastards.
Contact us through our club Facebook page or come talk to us at any event.
We have cruisings of the first and third Saturday of every month.
Check out our Facebook page for information.
Email us at ratbastardsidaho@gmail.com.
Rat Bastards!
We're charter sponsors of the Idaho State Hot Rod Hall of Fame and the Hot Rod Podcast.
Rat bastards.
Rat Bastards.
And the rough is enough.
It's not what you buy, it's what you build.
It's not what you buy, it's what you build.
It's not what you buy, it's what you build.
It's not what you buy, it's what you build.
It's the most fun you can have with your clothes on.
It's the most fun you can have with your clothes on.
The most fun you can have with your clothes on.
Well, one of the things we were talking about is, the differences in your art from when you first started. Because, I mean, everybody develops. So I know you're not still doing some of the same things you did. I mean, if you are, you're doing them better. But what kind of things did your art lead you to develop from the beginning to now?
Well, it's kind of funny. When I look at my older work, I see areas for improvement. Excuse me. And one is, when I take my work out, and I recommend to anybody that is an artist and wants to grow a little further, getting your work out in front of people. I had so many people compliment my work, and as any artist does, I'd see the weakness. If I had a hand on a steering wheel, maybe it was a clump on a steering wheel, and I get all these compliments, and I'd be thinking, oh man, next time I'm going to draw every individual finger. I'm going to get better to deserve those compliments. So it was maybe one of the first lessons I learned right away was people are going to like what you do. So put your heart into it and do it
Absolutely.
Well. And I've always enjoyed, beyond just crafting a good-looking car, hot rod, dragster, bike, or whatever. I love putting them in environments, so it's not just an empty background. And I've always enjoyed finding interesting environments to put them in, because there's nothing better in my mind, to my eye, to see a custom car, hot rod, chopper, whatever, in a natural environment. So one of the pieces you mentioned earlier, Future Courthouse, we moved here in Prescott, Arizona, a couple of years ago, and that was built in like 1905. A big fire, 1910, wiped out the town. They built that courthouse, and it's still standing. So I put a little concept around it with the DeLorean, Back to the Future style.
Yeah, the DeLorean's a nice touch.
Yeah, thank you. So it's still the same. I'm still doing environments, but I feel my line work is getting better, and I'm a little bit more thoughtful, and with that, I have to be careful because I have a style that is recognizable, and I am getting better. I've done one a week for like 10, 12 years, at least one a week, small or big or whatever, one project, and every once in a while I'll do something so photoreal, like a reflection on a bumper. I'll be impressed that my hands created that. But then my second thought is, wait a minute, that's not my style. I'm not going for photoreal. So I back off, and I kind of approach my art, and I tell people my style is like a high school kid who could draw really, really good. That's the look that I want. And so I have to be careful not to make it too good, I guess is the way of putting it.
Honestly, I think your definition of too good and ours may be a little bit different, because right now I'm looking at this thing that you did called Night Watch, and you're talking about a reflection in a bumper. I am looking at moonlight reflecting off the roof and sides of an Airstream trailer at night, and maybe you're not happy with this, but it really looks impressive.
No, I'm happy. I'm happy with that one. That turned out
It's
real
running
good.
down below. So tell me, how old is that picture? How old is that one?
4 years, something
Okay.
like that. Yeah.
Do you think you would have done that the same 20 years ago?
Well, well, interesting because all of my subject matter is timeless. So, yeah, Airstream
Right on.
trailers, roadsters, hot rods, custom, whatever. It's like I like old timeless things. So, the subject matter I could see myself doing, yes, but there's an appreciation of those swirling clouds and kind of
Sure.
the nature around it that is kind of fun for me to explore. To make that one new for me anyway.
The
Pretty
detail in
amazing.
the tikis and the tiki rod, there's like 4 tikis behind it. It's so good, so cool. Very
Yeah.
nicely done.
Yeah,
I
well, there's
love that.
a lot of research goes into finding
I'm sure.
the
I'm
right
sure.
tikis and all that. So thank
I'm
you
sure
for
they
that.
have. I'm sure each tiki has its own meaning and background.
I'm sure it does too, and I couldn't tell you a thing about it other than I like the silly faces they each had, like they're having a great time.
Yes, sir.
So
It's about partying.
that's right.
That's cool. Well, hey, we got a little bit more time to go. I want to stop for one of our last sponsor breaks. We got some new sponsors, so we want to make sure that they get happy. But the one thing we haven't talked about thus far is money. I know you don't do these things for free. Let's come back and we'll talk about that. Okay.
The Idaho Hot Rod Hall of Fame is the only nonprofit organization that rewards men and women who actively promote the hot rod community, clubs, and builders all over the state of Idaho. Each year at our September awards banquet, we award a Hot Rodder of the Year, a Young Rodder of the Year, and Car Club of the Year, as well as giving out scholarship money to students in the auto trades programs at local colleges. If you want to nominate an honoree, go to idahof.org, our website, or you can email us or message us through our Facebook page.
Well, our show with BOMONSTER, these things always go too fast. I wish we could do
Always.
a 2-hour show, but you know what? I mean, we got the time we got. And one thing we haven't talked, I mean, your work obviously continues to develop. Every good artist probably can say that, but it's a truly amazing stuff. And I'm absolutely honest, we've never had art like this on the show. So thanks for agreeing to do it, for one thing.
Yeah, sure.
Absolutely.
I know
Thank you
you
so
were
much.
out of town for a while, but it kind of brings us to, you travel for these things and you go to different shows, you take, your art lots of different places. But as I said before the break, I know you don't do it for free, so you do commission work, I'm assuming, and
Yes.
and then of course you sell your designs to, for example, like t-shirt companies or something like that, or do you market all that stuff yourself?
Well, my background is marketing, and I was in
Yeah.
advertising. So I've worked on car accounts, motorcycle accounts, and developing marketing strategies. I was never the artist. I was good enough to convey an idea to a photographer or a director with, like little outline drawings and showing perspective and showing. I was really good at that, and my expertise was at that time was more conceptual. So it was less the art. So I've only been doing this maybe like 11, 12 years. I kind of got into my high school scratchboard was that was one of my earlier high school assignments, and I always liked the look. So I got into it, something for fun, and I posted online. And I had other people say, "Hey, if you put that on a shirt, I'd buy it. If you bring it out, to the car shows."
Absolutely.
So I took that to heart. I was like, well, maybe and I talked to some artists that were Max Grundy and Big Toe and and Keith Wiesner and Kent Reppert, like guys who were already out there doing it before me. And they gave me great advice, and I find out it's a community that wants to help. It's not competition.
That's
So
awesome.
that's what kind of pulled me in a very organic, natural kind of way, and just sort of and I right away got focused on creating merchandise for myself because I knew that's what it
Cool.
was going to take.
So you do, I mean, obviously, if people want to see more of your art than we've been running on the bottom of the screen, they can go to your website, which is it bomonster.com.org.
BOMONSTER.com, yes.
.com. Okay. And I mean, I know your art is there. I went to the website and checked that out, but I wanted to hear you say it. We're running that on the bottom of the screen as well. So the art is, the address is there. And yeah, thank you. That's exactly where right there is where it is. Yeah, so I mean, people obviously can go and see that stuff. If somebody wanted to commission a particular piece or, buy a piece from you, they could do all of that through your website, right?
Absolutely, yes.
Nice. Well, that is super. Hey, we're just right up to it. Again, I wish that we had
Maybe
more
we can
time
have
to
him
do
back
these.
on again. Maybe we can have him back on again.
There's shows
If
coming up.
if
Maybe
he's
we
willing
can all
to.
get together at one of the shows. What's your next show?
I'm taking a break for a while. We just got back from Wichita, the Customville show in Wichita, which was a blast and a lot of fun. So it pulls us away. My wife and I do this together. It pulls us away from this house and community that we really like. Now we're back. It's like, let's go do all the fun things we've been talking about doing here at home. So
Well, I'll tell you what, keep in touch with us when you got something that's, a little bit more towards the Northwest. So Ron and I don't have to, do 3 time zones to get where you are. Let us know. And we'll, not only we'll promote it, but we'll see if we can come down and see you in person.
That'd be fun, man.
That'd be awesome.
Super. All right. Well, BOMONSTER, thank you for coming along. Again, the website is BOMONSTER.com, and the artwork is there, as well as a whole bunch of really cool ideas that you'll grab. And I really appreciate you for coming and being on the show today. Thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
That's it for this episode of the Hot Rod Podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe to our show, and we appreciate it if you smash those notification buttons too, so you'll know when a new one drops. For Ron Foreman, I'm Brady Wright. This has been the Hot Rod Podcast. We'll see you on the next one.